So Prabhuji, sometimes we get deeply attached to people in our lives, and when they leave, we feel very devastated. So I have read it somewhere that some relationships are just life lessons. So how can we understand this better?
While I agree with what you said to some extent, there is definitely great disturbance when someone whom you have been closely associated with kind of leaves or something happens to that relationship. It can be quite an impact. It can leave quite an impact on your mind. But that is where spiritual wisdom from Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic scriptures comes to our aid. When you have relationships in this world, but with God in the center, then your primary relationship is with God. And because the relationship with God is always permanent and it is unshakable, because God loves us no matter what. God never leaves us. He is always present with us. So when that relationship is strongly, established, then other relationships, even if they come and go, and even if there is some disturbance, it is withstandable. You can withstand, you can cope up, because the main relationship is still intact. As I say, if you build a huge building on sand, it can fall anytime. But if your foundation is on stone, solid rock, that will stay. Similarly, if the foundation of all our relationships is our relationship with God, and with God in the center of every other relationship, then any amount of disturbance that might come in those relationships really doesn't disturb you so much, because your primary relationship is intact. And if they come and they are with you and they are helping you, God's mercy. And if they betray you or if something happens, God's will. There's a nice story of one great devotee of Lord Ram in South India. He had 13 or 14 children and a wife. And he was a great devotee who would pray to the Lord every day. And there was some disease. And one by one, all the children died, not even one remained. And his wife also died in that disease, but somehow he survived. And after some time, someone asked him, he was still continuing his devotion and his prayers and his worship of the Lord. Someone asked him, see, you were worshipping God so much. He took away all your children, not even one left. What benefit did you get by worshipping this God? He said, they are not my children, they are God's children. So he gave and he took back his own property. Why should I have a problem? Why should I complain? भगवान का है, उन्होंने दिया और वो उनका सामान वापस ले गया. So anyone else in his position would have been kind of probably be deranged or become crazy. Or many people commit suicide also. But of course, it's natural to have feelings and pain will be there. But you can, tolerate it, or you can, withstand that disturbance and remain undisturbed, not overly disturbed, because your primary relationship with God is intact. So that is very important. That is why God consciousness is very necessary for human society, because therefore the spiritual culture, this devotion to God, is very much essential in modern culture, especially because this kind of cyclones and hurricanes will come in relationships. And if you don't have the strong support of your relationship with God, it's very likely that we become swept away by all those disturbances and calamities that might happen. And who knows, it might lead you to very serious issues, if not suicide and worse things than that. Very recently in the news, it came, some family, they committed suicide. The entire family committed suicide, including 2 small children. Everyone was poisoned by the head of the family, and he himself also took poison and died because they could not pay a debt. So that is where the strong faith in God and relationship with God will help. Practicing God consciousness means to practice remembering God in trying circumstances. That is the practice. to remember him when there is problem, and to remember him when there is happiness.